Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me today. Thanks, Creative Mornings, for the opportunity to give a talk about one of my passion, the capsicums. And why is it me that is giving this talk today? Because I was not born in a family of people eating peppers. So I discovered them when I was a teenager in Spain. But then I fell in love with those plants. And so I grew them for more than 15 years. I studied them also. And I started a company of growing chilies in echelon and breeding varieties, making some hot sauce and everything around chili peppers. So that's why today I'm presenting you this talk. Is it working? Okay. So that's the greenhouse with the logo in echelon. And to introduce these plants, I want to talk a bit about some generalities about the chili peppers. First of all, it's a botanical genus called capsicum. And it's the only genus that produces this molecule, the capsaicin, the molecule that we feel as hot. The other plants like ginger or black pepper, they produce other kinds of molecules, but that's the only genus. There are more than 20 wild species in America. And people domesticated humans. There are 5 different species of chilies. You can see Capsicum annum, the mostly used in the world, Bacatum, Chinense, Frutescens, and Pubescens. It doesn't give always spicy plants. We know the bell pepper, but also in the wild plants, there are some that are not spicy. And it has been used by humans for thousands of years, but not in the whole world as we could think. Because the chili peppers, they are originally from America. And they were present there 500 years ago. They were present only in this continent. And for thousands of years, they were eaten by birds. They were living their life in this continent without human interaction. And around 6,000 years before present, different people in America, in Central and South America, started to eat those plants and breed them, take the fruits, the bigger fruits, the sweeter or the hotter, to select the plants as their likings. As you can see, it was more around Mexico and the Caribbean. It was this Capsicum annum. Other pubescence is more in the Andes and Chinense in the Amazonian region. And so with the colonization of the Americas, especially by the Spanish and Portuguese, when they arrived to the Caribbean, first the Spanish, they discovered this plant because they were looking for black pepper. They were looking for spices for their trade. And when they encountered these chili peppers, they brought them back with their ships in Spain. And it quickly spread to the whole of Europe and then to Asia via the Silk Road. The Portuguese, they did the same, but they went to Brazil and took some other species of chili peppers and brought them to Africa and India to their trading ports. And from them, it spread also in the region. And in a few hundred years, it spread to the whole world. And now the chili peppers is present on the all the continents. Now a bit more about the chemistry and how the chili works. So I told you about this capsaicin, but in fact it's a bit a reduction. In reality, it's more a family of compounds called capsaicinoids. As you can see here on the bottom right picture, there are a few molecules and they all look the same, but there are different forms of capsaicin and they give different sensations. Sometimes it's why the chilies, they burn more on your lips or sometimes more on your throat, or some have an after effect that it burns much more after 20-30 seconds. That's responsible to the ratio of these compounds inside the chili pepper. And now why do we feel as we feel when we eat them? Is because these molecules, they trigger some receptors that we have on our skin, inside our mouth or body. And these receptors are usually triggered by heat. So the molecule tricks these receptors, and we experience the same nervous signal as with heat, but with these molecules. So it's funny because we feel like that, but birds don't. Birds, they don't feel the heat from chilies, and that's also, it explains a classical ecological hypothesis called the directed deterrence hypothesis. It states that through time, the chili peppers, they evolved this molecule to deter some herbivores that were detrimental, like the mammals, because we chew the seeds, so we can destroy them. We have a long digestive tract, so we destroy the seeds too. But they don't want to deter the animals that are beneficial, like birds that eat the seeds or the fruit and bring the seeds further, so they disperse the plants. And then to rate the heat, we invented a scale that's called the Scoville scale, or Scoville heat index, that goes from 0 to... Oh, what happens? That goes from 0 to 16 million. 16 million being the pure capsaicin, so the really compound like pure capsaicin, but and 0 being like a bell pepper. But the spiciest one that is in the Guinness World Record is around 3 million. So it's almost 20% pure capsaicin inside the chili. This is awful. This is really, really, really awful. And now that we're discussing about chilies, I wanted to say a bit about some common misconceptions. The first that comes in mind is that we always hear that the seeds are the hot part, the place where it's hot. But in reality, it's not the seeds, it's the placenta. This white part, and also on the really hot peppers, the placenta covers the entire inner surface of the chili. This is where really the capsaicin are stored. Here are some blisters of almost pure capsaicin oil inside the chilies. And so you could wash the seeds very thoroughly and they would not be hot. It's this part, the placenta. Just that when we take the seeds out, usually we take everything out with a capsicum pepper. Also, that smaller doesn't mean hotter. Small fruits can be heatless, and big fruits like the one on the top is awful. This one also is one of the hottest in the world. And as I told you, it's not a real heat. It's only a sensation. It's really a trick in our brain that we feel as heat. But if you put a thermometer inside your mouth after eating a chili, it's the same temperature as anybody else's mouth or your mouth before. So it's really a trick. So you can't be burned, but you feel as a burn. So yeah, it questions what's reality, but that's another topic. And then I told you about this Scoville scale. And Scoville scale rate chilies, but we should use much more. It's a range of, it's not a real number. I told you 3 million, but it's maybe between 1 and 4. It's really, it varies really greatly. Already inside the same plant, you can see in this graph, it's the capsaicinoid content going up as the chili matures, and then going back down as it gets older. Already on the same fruit, you could see an evolution of capsaicinoids. But then if you have some climatic conditions, pests, or a lot of UVs and stuff like that, they can be hotter or less hot. It's depending on the conditions. So usually it's really more a range. This Scoville scale is used for marketing a lot, but I don't really use it. I prefer to use like really mild, low heat, high heat, and really extremely painful. But it's enough for most people. And then milk or dairy won't help you because it can take some capsaicin off your mouth when you swallow some milk. But then after swallowing, it comes back the same as before because it's a nervous signal. So you just need to wait for the signal to be stopping to be sent, because at some point after 10, 15, 20 minutes, as you're not dead, so also in the brain the signal stops to be emitted, so you don't feel the pain or the heat anymore. Okay then, so why, with all these explanation, no, sorry. First, just a bit some diversity that you can find in my field, and that's also why I got in love with these plants. And this is a lot of diversity, colors, taste, and as I told you, the small ones here, they're almost heatless, and most of the chilies in the picture are really, really hot. So how I got into chili peppers. So first of all, the picture there is a village in Senegal, in Simbandi Balant. I went there when I was 15 years old for a humanitarian project with people from my school. And we were working with Senegalese guys there and eating a lot this chicken or fish yassa. And here there is only one chili, but sometimes there were much more. And so I remember that I used to look like this, probably younger. So in Spain, I discovered these fruits. And at this time, I decided that I wanted to be able to travel and to enjoy the food that people would offer me. And so I wanted to be able to endure or to enjoy eating chilies. And so coming back to Switzerland with my father, we bought some hot sauce and tried every day a bit more to get used to it. I got some seeds. I planted them in my parents' backyard. But then already with like maybe 10 plants, you have so many chilies, you don't know what to do for yourself. So I tried looking for some recipes, tried with fruits and spices by trial and error, mixing a lot of ingredients and giving them to my friends. Once one friend suggested me that I tried to sell them at the market, and it was a success. Indeed, I sold everything in a few hours, and it gave me the motivation to make more, to buy more chilies or grow more chilies, make more hot sauce, more markets. So that was what was the case. I reached my friend Samuel, that is a farmer in Échalon and Fay, and I studied with him in the agronomy in Geneva. And he's also a chili geek, so we were exchanging our hot sauce a long time before. So I reached him and I said, do you want to grow some chilies on your farm and try to make some hot sauce with me and make markets and sell them? And he enjoyed the idea, so we grew maybe 20, 30 varieties that year, kept doing more and more hot sauce, more markets, and after some time, we shifted a bit our recipes. The first one were the recipes with tropical fruits, but we had some comments that were really interesting about the fact that if we were buying some pineapple, why buying the chilies altogether? So as we were growing chilies in Switzerland, we should use also, we could try to use ingredients that can be grown here. So we have now some hot sauce since this time that are much more on the chili, giving it 70% chili. And so it's to show that these plants, they have wonderful taste. It's not only a sensation, it's a various flavor profile. And so now we have recipes that show that some with the lemon drop, the yellow one, lemon drop chilies that are citrusy, or the green one that is more on the bell pepper taste, or the orange one that have this habanero taste. And it's much more on the chilies and local ingredients now. It was a hobby. So for all this time, we were doing that on the side. And I went to University of Neuchâtel to study a master's degree in biology. And there was a subject that was proposed about studying the domestication effect of chili peppers in Mexico. And I saw that, I said, okay, it's for me. This project is for me. Nobody else can take it except me. So I flew to Mexico, to Puerto Escondido, to grow some chilies there. We had some wild varieties, like the small ones, the tiny ones you could see in the picture, and modern chili varieties. We grew them side by side, And this, as you can see, is to mimic the insect herbivorous attack. So we punch holes and put some insect spit, so the plants can have, all the plants can have the same herbivory. And then we were measuring the effect with the new insect coming, the new leaves that were attacked. Well, it was a really nice project, but 3 months or 4 months, it's too short. Already chili plants are slow grower, but even so for a project, it was nice to study there, but there could not be really meaningful results because of the size of the project and the shortness of the time. But nevertheless, Mexico was not all about that. It was also about playa and food. This beach photo is the first thing that comes in Google when you write Puerto Escondido. So I spent a lot of time in this playa Carrizalillo, and my hot sauce traveled there too, and they were well received. And the picture of the food, it's a pozole, and it's, for me, it's to show the diversity that also I discovered there. Food is amazing. It's the country of hot sauce, and I got a lot of inspiration in Mexico. I went back there a few times the years afterwards. So now, what is currently in our field, in the farm, is that we have greenhouses, so chili pepper can grow much bigger. Every year we try around 30 to 50 new varieties of chili peppers. We already tested more than 300, and the idea is that we want really to find the biggest ones, the ones that grow best, like this kind of plant with a lot of fruits, not like these kinds of small plants and bushes. Then it's about the taste, really the flavor profile that we want to select, and that's why we tried 300 varieties and we kept maybe 10. We also organize a visit called À la découverte des piments, where I explain a bit what I'm telling you today about the history and chemical functioning of chili peppers. Then we go into the fields, everybody can harvest the chili peppers they want. See the whole colors, it's like a jungle. And then there is a tasting of hot sauce, fresh peppers, preparations also with cheese sometimes, so it's not really hot. We have low heat varieties, but you can try the extremely hot if you want. They are there. So today the idea is still improving, going towards more professionalism, getting better and better. Now we have also a professional kitchen. We do bigger batches. We have some resellers, 20 in Switzerland, a website and an e-shop to sell our products. And as I told you, we have now these 4 hot sauce going from low to really high heat. But the recipe is almost the same. It's really the varieties that change the taste completely, and the heat also. And we have a spice mix from dried peppers, herbs, and salt that is smoked, that you can use to cook. This for me is to represent what I see for the future. On the left picture, you can see some bags that are used to keep the flowers inside, so they self-pollinate, so we can keep the varieties pure and not mixed with all the other chili varieties. So currently I'm trying to breed also some of my varieties, but it's hard to doing everything at the same time, because as you saw, it's from the seed to the bottle. We are trying to do everything, and so breeding is a bit more for a future project. And also these new products, I want to bring back fruit to my sauce, but local fruit. And this Casundi, the label is some summer hot sauce that we make with tomatoes that has almost no heat, just some chilies for the signature. And apricot, it's probably gonna be the hot sauce for this summer. So with everything that I said, I want to thank you for your attention. And for anything, to register for a visit or to buy some products, you can go to our website. And so thank you, everybody. Nice time for questions. the thing is that you hear a lot of stuff, but for me, if there were a trick, we would already know it. I'm sure. But the thing is that no, the trick is that just wait. And don't eat the hottest chili in the world if you are not prepared to. Or just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. It's my company and it's my project, but it's hosted in the farm of two of my friends, Samuel and Steven, and they have this farm that is 45 hectares, so it's a really, really big farm, and they work there and they help me when we have to cook the hot sauce or to put them in the bottle or for some markets, and I help them with some work at the farm. So it's an exchange. We have two companies, but we work together. So that's why I say we all the time. Also, I'm not working alone. Everybody helps me, my dad, my girlfriend, everybody is giving me a hand. And that's why it's not a one-man thing at all. There is this genetic diversity that we all have. Some people can be tolerate really high heat and some don't. So there is this difference starting, and then it's how you get used to. You said about the nation is because the food there probably is hot, and so children already eat spicy food and they're getting used to. But you can be used to, get used to, like me. I was not able to eat anything. The tiny bit of hot sauce was too much, and now I can eat a bit this hottest in the world. It's a pain, but I can, and you can train yourself. You just eat a bit more and more, and then your body adapts. Like with any compound, you get used to it. Okay, we have 4 greenhouses, but they are used to grow also tomatoes, eggplants, and carrots and everything. So the chili field, the greenhouse, it's 300 square meters, and outside we have also the same size. It's around between 500 and 700 plants of chilies. Every year it grows, because a year ago it was 400, and a year before 200. So every time we increase the hot sauce, and that's the thing also. As I'm selling the hot sauce made from my chilies, I have to grow more chilies to be able to produce more hot sauce, to sell more hot sauce. So I have to think in advance, because it takes a long time. You sow the chilies in February and you harvest them in September. So you have to plan in advance for that. For us, it's 2 years, because we stabilize them with some vinegar. So the pH is really low, so it prevents any contamination. And also we pasteurize. We make a pasteurization by a company that does it's called pascalization. It's a pasteurization by pressure. So it doesn't, the product doesn't get heated, so it doesn't destroy as much some compounds in the hot sauce. And it extends the shelf life too. Seasonal, yeah. In Switzerland, yes, but in other parts of the world, if there is no frost, you can keep the plants for multiple years. Also, if you put the plant inside, you can keep them for multiple years, but in the fields, it's every year we have to start all over again. Yeah. So I have the e-shops on my website, and then 20 resellers in the Swiss Romande. So you can find, they're all listed on the website. I didn't make any changes. The thing is that but the greenhouse is one change that helps to extend a bit the season, but then it's selecting the varieties. I had some varieties from Amazonian region, the rainforest, that grew like this size plants, really like stayed tiny. Then I had varieties that were 2 meters tall, and there are some varieties that are not adapted to our climate, so that's why I'm just getting rid of them. And I keep the ones that grow well and have a good taste. So, but yeah, it grows here. It can be grown in Hungary, in the other parts of Europe, but it's not all the varieties. Some are much more complicated to grow. I have a mix of varieties. So it's more a flavor profile. So maybe there are 5 varieties with the same flavor profile that go into one sauce. Some are hotter, some have more the taste, and so they bring stuff together, interesting thing together. Yeah. Yeah, it's always a complicated question because every year I discover new ones. The one that I showed you with the stripes, orange and red stripes, that are the new one that's really famous in the chili geek world, the striped varieties. And this one was actually really good, sweet, a bit spicy, but with a lot of taste. Otherwise, my favorite is the lemon drop, the one for the yellow hot sauce. It's a pain to grow. It doesn't grow really well here, and it's a pain to harvest, but it has a citrusy taste. It's completely different than other chili peppers, and that's from the species Bacatum. Bacatum are grown more in the Peru and Bolivia and this region, and there it has some tropical notes. Sometimes there is this mango or pineapple chili peppers that smell a bit like mango or pineapple. So the new varieties, I look through the internet for some resellers. In Switzerland, there are not a lot, so I bought only a few. But I was working with a guy that is in Lanzarote, in the Canarias island, and they grow there 700 varieties of pepper. It's people from Germany that settled there and have a pepper farm and tomatoes farm, and so they have in total maybe 1,000 varieties. So I bought them from him and tried these varieties like that. Yeah. You say the pepper that are heatless, the like bell pepper.
Like
Yeah.
sometimes there's like in Migros, there's like a very big chili, but then I was told that's not chili, that's pepper.
Yeah,
So
vegetable pepper, like
different shades between chili and pepper.
it's yeah, you bite in it.
But she has super high tolerance.
Yeah. So maybe for you everything is vegetable pepper. No, not really, because sometimes you can be fooled. They can look the same. There are so many varieties that it's not really possible to differentiate. I've never tried this banana pepper. There's so many names for the chili pepper. What does it look like? It's like also yellow, long pepper? Or?
They're slender, long, and orange.
I know I never tried this one especially, but as there are like multiple thousands of varieties. Yeah, it could be nice. If you can find me the seeds, or maybe I can look for the seeds. It's a bit late this year, but I would be eager to try.
We're a bit more than a co-working space. We are that, but we're also more than that, because as you see on the photos, well, you've seen the cafe and you've enjoyed it, but we also have a whole, like a theater room of 230 square meters for events or shows or parties or exhibitions, whatnot. A dojo where we have martial arts classes, yoga classes, dance classes, pole dance classes, and the professional kitchen that is next door that you'll have a look at before you leave. We thought it was a good opportunity to present it to everyone, since we have a talk today on something that is, about food, basically. And this special room that goes with the kitchen that we use for also any kind of event, personal, professional, parties or whatever. We've been around for 8 years, but indeed this third floor we've had for 3 years, and then the theater space we've had just for a few months. So we're starting. If anyone is interested in visiting it afterwards, I'll be happy to walk you through it.
Trigo, they're not here with us today, but I'm sure you've seen all the amazing food they brought. So they are the same owners as Mangio Bevo, if you're familiar with the two, and they create all sorts of very innovative pastries, both sweet and salty. They have a location, Suga, and now they also have a new location for Mangio Bevo in Flon. So really, really a great partner to work with, and they brought a lot of food and had to run. So I wish they could be here to present themselves, but thank you, Trigo, for the breakfast. And we have a third sponsor this month that you might have noticed to our right. We have Sarah. Oh, I'm like, do you want to come up and speak? From Raki?
This is the mic?
Yes.
Yeah,
for the
okay.
video.
So, I'm Sarah, and I started a company with my partner, David, of fermentation. So we make fermented foods from around the world, but we use local, organic, and seasonal ingredients. We make kombucha, kimchi, kefir, and tempeh. But today the star is the kimchi because we use spicy peppers from Lucas Farm, the habanero and the lemon drop, and we use that for our kimchi. And then you'll be able to take one home, one kimchi as a gift to try it.